guys, Dr. Kristie Ennis. Pelvic floor dysfunction is actually a big component of not just bladder leakage, but back pain and hip pain as well. So today, you're going to discover whether you've got some weakness in those muscles and some exercises to work on beefing things back up again. All right, sign number one is leakage, which you probably already guessed, but it can be leakage with coughing, laughing, sneezing, or exercise activity, or leakage when you have that strong urge to go to the bathroom and you cannot make it to go to the bathroom. That's called urge incontinence. First one is called stress incontinence. Our pelvic floor muscles are designed so that they help close those openings, just like a hose, right? When you squeeze a hose, nothing comes out. That's what we're trying to get these muscles to do. So if you're having some leakage, often that means there's a little bit of weakness there as well. Number two is if you feel a pressure or heaviness sensation, or almost like something's falling out. I know that sounds scary, but that is called a prolapse, and that can happen to the bladder, to the uterus, and even to the rectum. And typically, the most weakness is seen when there is rectal prolapse, okay? So if you do feel that sensation, especially if you've been on your feet a lot, it tends to get worse, or if you do that hold your breath and bear down, that's when it's actually a big cause for that. I'm going to link a prolapse video for you guys as well. But that typically means those pelvic floor muscles aren't working quite as well as they need to. Lower back or hip pain, especially if someone has told you that you have a weak core. Now, your pelvic floor muscles, and most people don't know this, are part of your core. So even think about piriformis, right? Piriformis syndrome is a common one that you hear. That attaches in the same place that those pelvic floor muscles are attaching. So if anything in this system isn't working, these aren't usually working either. So they can really help kind of build up some of that strength to help support the spine. Once you start going to the bathroom, you can't stop. So if you're in the toilet and someone's like, fire! And you're like, uh-oh, and then you have a little bit of dribble as you go because you just can't stop. Yeah, those muscles are not working the way that they are supposed to work. Now, please do not practice on the toilet by trying to do Kegels while on the toilet and stopping that pee. Every once in a while, if you want to test it, that's fine, but you can actually leave a little bit of residual urine in there and cause a UTI, which is really not good. Okay, and now that's it. Not that there may not be other signs. So those are the most common ones. So now let's get to the exercise part so you can actually do something to make these better. All right, this first exercise is a form of a Kegel, and I'm doing this seated in a chair because sometimes it's hard to kind of locate those muscles, and the chair actually gives you a little bit of biofeedback. You can even roll up a towel, almost like a little donut cushion, and put it under there if you still can't quite feel it. But we're gonna go over, this is kind of a two-part thing. It's breathing and the contraction. So the breathing part, when you breathe in, you fill up the belly. When you breathe out, the belly lets go. For our pelvic floor contraction or our Kegel, we're gonna do that on the exhale, not the inhale, which is the common way to think about it. That's because we want to use the diaphragm to the best of its ability to actually coordinate and make sure that there's no downward pressure being applied, all right? So when you do a pelvic floor contraction, you want to think about, don't try this at home, but you want to think about pulling a marble up and inside so that when you're doing this correctly, I might see like some eyebrow movement, right? But you shouldn't see your whole body moving. You might feel it towards the butt because again, it does make a sling from front to back. But you don't want to actually squeeze your butt. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, and you really probably won't see much of anything except my belly. So it's an inhale, and then as I exhale, I'm doing that nice little squeeze, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale. Technically, normal strength is 10 repetitions of 10 seconds, but if you know that you can only hold it for about 3 seconds, that's where you're going to start, and you're going to start with 10 of those. Now, if you feel like, yes, you can feel them working, but that it might be a little bit too much to fight gravity, you can definitely do these lying down. In fact, you can do them in multiple positions, but lying down sometimes is a little bit easier for this one. Next one is on hands and knees. If it's difficult for you to get on the floor, totally feel free to do this in bed. Easy peasy to do that. But we're gonna have those shoulders stacked over those wrists, nice neutral spine to start. And this is a very traditional yoga cat-cow pose. So as you breathe in, you're going to arch that spine, squeeze those shoulder blades, lift that head up, And then you're going to push that floor away, round those shoulders, tuck that head and that spine. And we're alternating here. I usually have people try to shoot for about 5 or 6. So this actually activates the pelvic floor muscles. It activates the deep abdominal muscles. And you're getting some spine mobility too, which again is clearly important since those muscles are attaching into that area. For this next one, we're on our back. So again, you can do this in bed. You do need a ball. If you don't happen to have a little drugstore variety ball, you can use a pillow for this, nice and easy. This is gonna go in between the legs. We're actually working those inner thigh muscles with this one as we go. We're gonna do a bridge. So get your pelvis in a comfortable position. If you can flatten it, great. If not, that's okay. And I only say flatten just to help engage those glutes a little bit more. We're gonna lift that butt up, and as we do that, we're squeezing right into that ball. So we're really using all those surrounding core muscles to help support us. If you wanna try to do that Kegel first, you can, but no worries if it just doesn't happen. We're at least working on, like I said, all those other nice core muscles that need to be working well. So for this one, again, you're gonna need to have a constant squeeze in that ball, but really try to get a little extra squeeze as you get up to the top. Make sure with this bridge that you only raise as high as you can without arching through the spine or the rib cage or doing anything funky with your neck like I just did there. And you wanna shoot for about 15 to 20. For our last one, we are in our strike a model pose on our side. So again, you can still do this in bed. You want to be all the way rolled onto that hip. So if it's a little uncomfortable, you can put a pillow or a towel under there. You're actually going to start with straight legs because we want to make sure we are in a straight line. So when I look down at my body, I can see my toes, I wiggle them around a little, and you shouldn't see a whole heck of a lot more than that. From here, you're going to bend those knees without shifting your hips and without rolling backwards, which I think I just did a little bit. Keep that torso lifted. If you follow me, you've heard me say don't squish your cupcakes, and I absolutely love cupcakes, and that would be a tragedy. Try to keep this bottom hand from smushing down on your other cupcake that you happen to have with you. And you're gonna keep those feet together and knees gonna lift right up without, again, rotating backwards. Now we're working on those deep hip rotators, which again are helping to help support the spine. Helping to support that spine and attaching where some of those pelvic floor muscles are as well. So we're really, as you can see, trying to do everything we can to support this whole pelvic region so that we function as best as we possibly can. Now you want to do this until it feels a little bit tired, which usually, especially if you're just starting, is somewhere between 15 to 20, and make sure that you do the other side too. Thank you so much for tuning in today, you guys. If you want to get rid of pain anywhere in your body on your own with just one little portable device, don't forget to check out the Derma Edge. I created this while I was going through Lyme disease to help get rid of my pain on my own, nice and gently. It's patented and made in the US, actually right down the road in Laconia from where my office is. So don't forget, you can click the link here or in the description to order your own.